Okay, so, hey guys, what's up? I have Ty here with me, and we are talking about Mandela Tech before its time. Uh,
Absolutely.
this video was brought to my attention. Ty told me about this one. It's from Lone Eagle. If we
Yeah,
look at
shout out to
the,
Lone Eagle and your videos. They're fantastic,
they are
really intriguing.
fantastic.
Really
Very,
intriguing.
very intriguing, this
We're
technology they
catching
had.
we're catching things in technology before its time where I have no memory on my timeline of technology like this at this date. And we've looked at several of your videos, the motion ones and the stills, and they just don't coincide with our reality as we remember it.
No, and what he's pointing out here in this still frame is this, what is this, some kind of electric tower here back in the background? Uh,
Right, that doesn't make any sense. That's a good catch, Brian, by the way.
Let's see. But here's the main one. How is it possible? And he goes on
Wonderful.
to explain about this picture here. This technology. You want to talk about that, Ty? Look at that.
Yeah, very simply, he was talking about, he was talking about the shutter speed of the camera had to be amazing. We did not have that technology and that shutter speed to catch that. Not even close. Not even close. To catch that at that shutter speed, no, not
Right.
even close.
That's almost like our phones today. They do this thing called what is it? Where it burst photos, where they take 20 photos at one time, and your phone will
Right,
automatically choose the best shot.
right. And
Uh,
I don't care if it was modified, if they fixed it up, if they cleared it up, still, it would not be that clear from
no, and
that time. Not even close.
there's
Like
like
this is
no blur, and they
right.
didn't
And
have
there would be. There would be.
Ty, they didn't have stuff like Photoshop and all that back in the day, so
No, the way it was with
no.
photographs, very simply back then, is you had to stand still for the old photographer on the pieces of glass, and you'd have to stand still for long periods of time for it to capture your image, and then they would, of course, it would be on a piece of glass. That there's no glass, and of course, that guy's not standing still for a long period of time. He's in midair. How
Midair,
did they
that's
catch
right.
it?
I want to look at some of this
So,
the
unless the guy
first.
could be in midair for 30 minutes, no. Very, very strange. Very,
That's
very bewildered by it because
1886.
I've never seen it.
Let's look at some 1886 cameras to see what they look like. See if this supports any evidence here. It's almost like somebody went back in time and took an iPhone with them. Doesn't it seem like that?
Or they, yes, it does. Or that the technology was better to push our technology greater than than what we have today. Okay, then look at those box cameras.
Yeah, Kodak. Let's
Yeah,
see, when is
it's
this?
Kodak, but look at the date. Does it have a date? That's not 1800s. It's
Apparent.
$25, which is a fortune
18.
at the
This is
time.
an 1886 Kodak camera.
Okay, let's see what it does.
Let's
Does it
see.
have a USB
Whoa,
port?
whoa.
That's how I want to know. Does it have a USB port?
It might.
Can you imagine?
Anybody can wind a watch. Anybody who can wind a watch can use the Kodak camera. It
After
is a
100 pictures have been taken, as it says in A Division of Labor, after 100 pictures have been taken, the strip of film, which is wound on the spool,
my
may be removed
gosh.
and sent by mail to a
Hold
factory
on.
at the picture's digits.
Hold the phone here though. I don't remember cameras being that small. They were freaking huge back then, weren't they?
Yes,
Like when
yes, yes,
I
they were.
come on, you
Yes,
ever
they were.
and
And
you had
these were used by professionals. They weren't used by amateurs.
right, didn't they
An
have
amateur,
the guy standing behind the curtain? They had to put a curtain over them, right? And,
right? Sure. These are very expensive cameras if you would find them today.
did they have tripods? Camera tripod patent 1886. Look at this, guys. A
Look at that.
telescoping.
Why would there be a patent for 1886 for a tripod for a camera? Why? Why, you taking it outside? What's going on? What, are you going
Let's
to
see
go on
what
the
this
mountain?
is.
I don't understand.
No, that looks like a more modern one. I'm trying to find some cameras from like the old days.
There's
130
one
years
right
of
there on the
cameras
far right.
timeline.
Looks like a telephone. Look at that. 130 years of cameras timeline. And let's take a look. Visit. See what we can find out.
All right, let's see.
Because if it has a timeline, we can find something.
That would be perfect. Yeah, come on, give us something. Amateur.
It says 100.
Okay, look, here's the
No.
Kodak. Yeah, Kodak 18. Wait, Lancaster tailboard camera 1886. On a tailboard, the front of the
It's rigid,
camera.
it's rigidly fixed to a A two-piece hinged base plate folds up behind the ground glass and protects it for transport. For use, the tailboard is dropped and the back is pulled out for focusing. That's
the question is,
I don't think so.
Could they?
I don't think so. That's a change. I don't think so, because that's not glass, is it? That's the camera as we know it. That's on film, is it not?
It would seem like that. Look at
It
this.
says 100. Go back up. It says 100 exposure film. Right there. It says the original Kodak, 1888. Underneath, if you go down the screen a little bit, it says the Kodak. I can't read it. Kodak 1888 and below the picture. I'm looking at the Lancaster right now. I want to look at what it says.
Where is it? Right here?
It says
100
yes,
exposure.
the original
right
Kodak was commercially one of the most important cameras ever made. Its appearance, 1880s, 1890s, 100 exposure film. That's different. There was no 100 exposure film.
I don't think we had that many back then. We we were lucky to get 24 exposure. Remember?
But even if it was exposure film, where's the glass? The daguerreotypes, the glass. You know what I'm talking about, right? The daguerreotype glass. They were on glass. There was no film. They had it on glass.
I don't know. I'm just trying to. Trying to see if our reality actually lines up with what we're seeing in these clips here.
It does in that regard, because that camera I never knew existed.
Okay,
I didn't know of any cameras in 1800.
Yeah, and
let me see what we got here. Daguerreotypes.
So apparently Kodak Lancaster tailboard was the first one, and then Kodak 1888.
One of the first. Lancaster was there too.
Lancaster, yes, 1886. Goodness gracious.
Here it is. Daguerreotypes. I'm picking it up from Wikipedia just to see what it is, okay? It's D-A-G-U-E-R-R-E-O type. Daguerreotypes.
Right, but are these still frame cameras or are they video cameras?
1839, it says that the daguerreotypes were introduced worldwide in 1839, Brian. And it was daguerreotypes were almost completely superseded in 1860 with new, less expensive processes yielding more readily viewable images. Obviously, they're talking about film. Okay?
Yeah.
You're talking about 1839 and 1860. That's pre-Civil War. So, by all rights, we should have pictures from the Civil War. There are no pictures from the Civil War. I mean, if there are, there's just a couple. You know that.
Right.
But that's 1839, and then 1860 was superseded. The daguerreotypes were superseded. I only thought daguerreotypes were around in 1860, 1870, 88, and they're saying no.
Do you remember the Do you remember the Nikon camera in 1959? Do you remember Nikon?
Nikon, yeah.
Okay.
But what was the year?
Oh wait, here's Canon.
Let me look at your
1960.
Let me see.
1960 Canon.
I see Canon. What year is this?
It's 1960 Canon. It was called Canon.
What does it do? That doesn't look right for 1960. I'm sorry. That doesn't look right for 1960. Remember, we didn't have color TV.
No,
we had
boring
color
little
TV.
point
Color
and shoot.
TV was very, very expensive.
It was just okay. The thing with the one I just shared with you. Hold on, the Canon. Okay, 1960. It was probably the world's first modern auto exposure, where you could set any shutter speed at any film speed, and the camera would choose the aperture for you.
I don't think so. Not in 1960. I don't think so.
Roll A35, 1966.
That's a foreign thing. That's not American.
Okay, 1960s films.
I've never heard of these two. Kodaks, I wouldn't even know from 1967.
Ty, is it possible that these...
Look at that picture from 1967. Look at that dial from 1967. You have the same dials in the 90s with those cameras. 90s and 2000, you had dials just like that. And you're telling me they had them in the 60s? No. Look at the Mavica. Look at that Sony Mavica in 81. Sony Mavica
Holy
did not
crap.
come out in 1981.
Hold on, look at the C and the A emerge. That's weird.
Yeah, that's not right. No way. No way. I don't believe that Sony Mavica came out in 81. I bought a Sony Mavica in 1996 for about $700, and they're telling me it came out in 81.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah, and the thing is, let's see, as early as 1843, Alexander Bain had designed a means of transmitting images by telegraph. Let's see, could send recognizable photographs.
No way! You're sending images by telegraph? They call that a fax machine.
Yeah. So they had
No.
as early as
for everybody to hear it.
No, this
What's the guy's name?
Okay, apparently in 1843, Alexander Bain had designed a means of transmitting images by telegraph, it says. 1843. Shelford Bidwell scanning phototelegraph of 1881 could send recognizable photographs, and the Mavica sometimes held up as the first digital camera.
No.
Was in essence a single frame video camera.
We need to
recording
have
low resolution images on floppy disks.
Mandela Effect button where we can hit it and just go, Mandela Effect. That's a Mandela Effect. There's no way, Mandela Effect. Agreed?
Right. So the scanning phototelegraph.
Yeah, I am completely in shock. I'm completely in shock because that tells you that's a fax machine. That's what it says. That's in essence what a fax machine is. Sending images through wire. That's what it's saying. That's what it says. And there you go.
That's my alarm telling me to go to bed soon. So, let's see. Sending pictures by telegraph. Wire photo. Okay. 1930.
No.
Wire
no
photo.
Way.
Western
no
Union. Okay, listen. Western Union transmitted its first halftone photograph in 1921. AT&T 1924. RCA sent a radio photo in 1926.
No, because remember, during World War II in the 40s, we were using coded messages, Morse code, all that other good stuff in the 40s, and this is 20 years prior.
That's crazy. Yeah, here. Okay, here's Alexander Bain. Here it is. Was a Scottish inventor, engineer, was the first to invent and patent the electric clock. Interesting.
Is it called?
So wait a minute now. So let's see if this clock. Oh wow, look at that. The clock has 4 ones. That doesn't surprise me.
And that's something.
Electric clocks. In 1840, desperate for money to develop his inventions, Bain mentioned his financial problems to the editor of Mechanics magazine, who introduced him to Sir Charles Wheatstone. Let's see, okay, his first patent, 11 January 1841. Electric clock, which uses a pendulum that kept moving by electromagnetic impulses.
Oh, right. That makes sense. Sure, in the 1800s. Sure.
Facsimile machine. Now, here's the important thing. Bain worked on an experimental fax machine in 1843 to 1846. He used a clock to synchronize the movement of 2 pendulums.
That's Tesla gauge stuff, wouldn't you say, Brian?
Pretty much.
That's Tesla gauge stuff. It seems to me maybe Tesla, you know what I mean? Maybe maybe in this reality it's a little bit different. I'm just saying. Because I've never seen that before in my life.
Right. So 27 May 1843, improvements. See, he claimed that a copy of any other.
That's not vague at all. It's very specific. 27 May 43. Is that what you just said? 27 May 43.
1843.
We'd have a hard time believing 27 May 1943.
Well, look at the fax machine now. You know the fax machine is barely. It's used by businesses, yes, all the time, banks and everything else,
right.
And it's still one of the most secure ways to send like documents, because you can't sure as heck email anything. There's too many sniffers. But if you use the POT system, the plain old telephone service system, you through faxing, it claims to be very secure.
It's scrambled. It's too hard to put that together.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Blaine had an improved facsimile in 1850, so apparently they were able to transmit images just fine in 1850.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this. Where did they get the images from? Because you need a copier base to do that, correct?
Right.
You need a picture base to do that. So you needed a scanner. A fax machine is nothing more than a scanner. But once you scan it, you have to send it. That's the fax machine sending it, transmitting it. You're telling me in 1843 and then 1850 he improved on it? Call it Mandela Effect.
Okay, the fax machine.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm not remembering 1843. That's the thing.
No, I remember no fax machines in the 70s. My first inkling of fax machines was in the 80s. In the 80s, and they really improved upon in the very early 90s. 1989, 1990, 1991. Everybody had them. Everybody's using them. And there's a little rolled up piece of paper that always went under the desk and you could never get them. That's what I remember in the early 90s and very late 80s. Okay, but you're telling me they had that stuff 150 years before.
Yeah, this is before World War II, right?
Yeah, well, that was in 1990, and this is 1840, so that's 150 years difference.
Yeah, well, we're talking 1843.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 1843 was the patent. I think he invented it. Let's see. He introduced the first commercial telefax service between Paris and Lyon in 1865. So that would have been about the time of. Yeah, here's the thing. So they had cameras back then to take the pictures, or how did they?
That's what I mean. That's what I just said.
That's weird. Yeah.
How did they get the image?
You're right. You're right. How did they get the image? You're right.
Right, so the cameras were out, and then this guy said, hey, I'm going to do something with these pictures. This guy couldn't have figured that out if he was on acid. This guy couldn't have figured that out. There's nothing. Where did he get that information from? You had nothing to go on, because one was Thomas Edison. One was Thomas Edison, one was his rival. I just said it. Tesla. One was Tesla.
Tesla was in the 1800s, wasn't he?
Yes, but not in the 1840s.
No.
Tesla was around, but not in the 1840s. I'm going to take a look. When was Tesla around? I'll look it up, bro.
George Eastman. Remember that. The use of photographic film was pioneered by George Eastman, who started manufacturing paper film in 1885.
The use of photographic.
Right, manufacturing
he started
paper
manufacturing
film.
it. He's like a Henry Ford. He didn't invent it.
So 1885, before switching to celluloid in 1888, the first camera, which he called the Kodak, was offered for sale in 1888. It was a very simple box camera with a fixed focus lens and single shutter speed. So yeah, so in other words, you could not make the shutter speed go faster. So how is it possible that in the 1800s that they took these amazing photographs and the guy was in midair? How in the world did they do that?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I wish we could go back in time to sort of, see how they did it, because I really feel like our technology. I mean, you look at our cameras now.
Let me tell you what.
Nikolai.
Okay. He was born in 1856. So what does that tell you? He was born in 1856. 43. So this is pre-Tesla stuff. So tell me, how in the world we pulled that off?
Nikola Tesla was born July 10th, 1856.
Was 1856 to 1943. So tell me, since all technology is built on other technology, just like tough scientists go from other scientists, tell me where this guy got the bright idea for a fax machine. Evidently, he had to get it from a box of Cracker Jacks, because he didn't get it from anywhere.
We're talking about Alexander Bain is what his name was. Remember that name? He's the one who developed the patent.
Sorry, what was it? What was it?
Alexander Bain.
You broke up a little bit, that's all.
It's okay. Alexander Bain was the one who developed the patent.
Yes.
1843.
So this is all new information to me. And let me ask you this question, Brian, on a more personal note. Have you ever heard of the name Alexander Bain before?
No, I have not. I have not.
Have you ever heard of his name, Alexander Bain, before? We just found it tonight.
Right, we just found it tonight.
I have. Have you ever heard of it before?
I've never heard of it. No, and I'm looking at the history of the.
Do you think that the guy who created the fax machine, at least known his name, or at least heard of his name? I mean, we read a lot of stuff. We see a lot of stuff. We watch a lot of videos. We were watching stuff before the internet. We were reading books, you know, that stuff with paper and words, and I've never heard about it before. I've heard of Tesla a million times. I've heard of Edison a million times. I've heard about wackos in France and in Europe and all sorts of stuff. I've heard about these guys named the Wright brothers and all sorts of crap, right? But I've never heard of Bain before, and I've never heard of the fax machine being invented.
Okay, and then like
in the 1840s.
I know, and what's weird is there's this video. We were talking earlier, you and me, Ty, about these horse-drawn trolleys.
Yes, horse-drawn streetcars.
And look at the quality of this video. I guess you know you could assume that this is in the 1890s. You got to think this is like 40 or 50 years after the first camera, or because the first camera was invented in 1939 or 1839, sorry, and then followed by Kodak had their first box camera. You know, we mentioned that. What year did we say that was again? 18 what?
First box camera was in 18. Let's see. I don't have the screen. You have it.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking. It just really it's really mind-boggling how the technology really has come along. But I still complain. I gripe about my phone camera not being as good quality as it should be in this day and times.
I guess you should be complaining, because if they were making quality film like that with the shutter speed like that in the 1800s, I'd be complaining too.
Guys, check this out. We have horse-drawn trolleys in the 1890s.
But
look at the video.
Or photographic evidence of that at all, of that technology. That's just about spinning wheel.
My gosh.
Motion picture in the 1890s?
It would have been silent film back then, right? If anything.
Right. Whatever happened to the United States silent film era?
Oh, man, this is crazy.
It couldn't have existed.
I know.
I've never seen these before. I've never seen this video before in my life.
When did okay, let's think back a little bit. What year did one of the first movies was Gone with the Wind, right? And
that's not the first movie.
well, the first major movies that came out, blockbuster wise.
It was a silent movie. I think it was called Crackers or something like that. It was a silent movie.
It was Al Jolson, wasn't it? It
was Al Jolson, I believe.
Al Jolson.
A silent movie. So why in the world are we seeing this if you have those?
This is in the 1890s.
Inside the factory? Why? For what reason? Why would you be wasting this very expensive film on this?
The pride of the well-dressed woman and man appearing in the season's new fashions on Old Fifth Avenue.
That guy looks like the Monopoly Man.
This isn't fake. This isn't fake. You can see. This is free anything.
Yeah, I don't want to. Okay, well, here's Mary Curie. Hold on.
In 99,
that was Theodore Roosevelt, was it not?
benefactress of the world, Madame Curie, discoverer of radium, Nobel Prize winner and first woman elected to the
Mary Curie discovered radium. How about that? There's Thomas Edison.
Wizard of Menlo Park, America's greatest inventive genius.
Was that was Thomas Edison? Woodrow Wilson. Look at that.
Beginning of a great public
Woodrow Wilson. I've never seen it. You've ever seen it?
Woodrow Wilson as
No, what year? Hang on. Look at those. Okay, they're showing you the cameras right there. Some of them. That's what they look like.
race for the New Jersey governorship.
That doesn't really make sense, that does it.
Hold on, let's look at those. Okay. What
Look
kind
at
of
those things, man. Look at those things. No way. No way.
in the 1890s? When was Woodrow Wilson?
When was he president?
Yeah.
I'll tell you in 1 second. Only takes a second.
He was the 28th U.S. president.
He was born in 1856. He died in 1924. He was a president from 1913 to 1921.
Okay.
Of course, that didn't have to be him as a president.
No, and I was just thinking that too.
Jersey too.
See how old does he look there? He looks pretty young, doesn't he? Holy! I'm looking at his photographs. They look very clean for back then. Look at his photographs.
That's the point. That's what the other guy was saying.
Holy crap!
He was saying these photos are too clean, too clean.
Maybe that's why Hitler's eyes changed color, because the camera quality improved. What? Look at these horse-drawn trolleys. Look at that.
Right.
That's awesome.
How crazy is that? Ever seen anything like that? Seen like this before?
No, this is before the age of traffic lights.
Exactly, and this is New York City. This is New York City. I think it's New York City.
Oh, here's the firefighters. This is what old fire... Look at this. Horse-drawn firefighters. Here you go.
Right. Never seen it before. And it's very interesting to note, if you pause it right there, you see that house right there?
Which one?
The house that you just passed. Is very the house on the side of the firehouse.
That one right there?
That's very reminiscent of the houses that we have in the east now.
Yes. You mean like the New England houses? Like kind of like those?
Yes, you said that's very good. They're very reminiscent of the houses that we have. That's how old our houses are. Some of them are 100 years old. That's what they are.
No, but look at that video. Holy crap, that video would not be that good back then.
How are you getting that? How are you getting that? That picture, that video. On what, a moving camera, huh? Yeah, that's right. Next will be on that next. Be on Thunderdome. And look at those dresses. How risque is that for the 1890s? How risque is that?
No, they would not.
Look at this. Look at this.
What?
Look at that. How risque is that?
No, women would not have dressed like that back then. Would they?
No, they didn't dress like that. They'd get arrested for dressing like that. That's almost like 40s dress. Right?
Yeah. Right.
That's unbelievable. Look at her. You can see everything. You couldn't see anything. They wore like basically parkas to the beach, right?
Golly, no, they would have worn dresses and stuff, right?
Right. This is the gay 90s, the 1890s. It wasn't the gay 90s. It was the roaring 20s, not the gay 90s.
There's the hairstyles. I don't know.
I don't.
But we're trying.
Think so. Look at that. No, that picture right there. No way would they be photographing that. No way. The only thing I've ever seen is risque still photos. Very, very old. Nothing like this. No way.
Look how fast that is going.
Yeah. Well, this is a fast,
No, no. I don't know, guys. I know you can go back through
right.
and
Is that crazy?
Tightrope.
Look at that. No way. No way. No way. No way. In public? Oh, I don't think so. That's almost burlesque right there. What you say, Brian?
Yeah. I kind of wish we could go back in time and look at these things.
What kind of car was that?
One that needs a new engine, I guess.
Yeah. Look at that. What kind of car is that?
Okay, wait. Hold on a second. Where are they? Are they sitting in a tree filming that? I guess so.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Where are they filming it?
But come on, my phone camera can't even record like that.
Right. Right. That's what I'm saying. So what did they do? Zoom in and then say, wait right there. Let me go run into the tree, beyond the tree, and get a bit. No.
I don't know, you guys. So we're talking about tech, early tech from the 1800s.
Yeah, sci-fi tech. That is the equivalent of Star Trek tech in the 1890s. Because there's no way we could have done that we could have done a move like that in the 40s. No
Wizard of Oz behind the scenes, 75th anniversary. That looks interesting.
But is it the same guy? No, I want to stick with the same guy. Stick with the same guy so we can. Now, are we still recording?
Yeah, we're still recording. I'm just trying to see. Is there anything else you would like me to present with this thing?
No, because that's fascinating. That's just fascinating stuff. I told you like it.
Holy crap! Let's see. To live in the 1920s. Let's just watch this real quick. Look at that video quality, folks.
Cards for 1920.
Wow.
Look at the 20s, right? Look how risque they are in the 20s. The roaring 20s. Everything's very open in the 20s.
Was it like that?
Very liberal. Everything's very open in the 20s. But this is, I've never seen pictures like this in the 20s. This is the age of the flapper girls.
That looks like fashion today, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah, because it all comes back around. So yeah.
It's just, you know, and to me the copper tone girl changed. You know.
Right.
How long has copper tone been around?
Is it due to this? Is it due to this kind of stuff that the technology changed?
Hold on. Did they change? Okay, I think they did change her logo.
Sue Larson about the retroactive, where it would go back and change. That's what I was talking about, just like this. She might not be aware of this because this is new.
All right. I just want to make sure and go back through. I know we're a little bit off course here. I know we are, but
that's all right. What's the date on this video?
Yo, look at that half T on copper tone. The half T.
Yep. Yeah, it's a half T all the way. Good catch.
I need to look up the copper tone girl to see if she's still flashing her butt.
It's going to be your foot. No, it's going to be your foot. Yeah, that's her butt.
Yeah. They come on, sir. Did they really show that much back then? Did they show that much butt with that copper tone?
Yes.
They did.
I don't know what they did, but I mean I remember it. But what do you want? I wasn't around at the time.
Yeah. Or this early tech is.
What is this? What is the date of this? Because it has quite a lot of views. That's 5 million views on this. Is this still illegal?
I don't want to play too much of it. Golly.
No, it's okay. But is this still Lone Eagle?
No. I was sharing that one a little bit.
Okay.
This is his video, the tech before.
Yeah. Now,
you guys should watch it.
What? I understand you're trying to do the video, but one was published.
Okay, he published this video. This is on November 2nd.
November 2nd. See, there you go. Just a month ago. People aren't aware of this.
Maybe.
And he says, tech first time, absolutely insane.
Could that be why we're so advanced with the AI now? I mean, the AI is becoming smarter than we are.
Why we're experiencing the jumps that we're experiencing, why things are changing. So whoever said that we're not experiencing Mandela effects anymore hasn't seen this. Because this is huge. This is big. This is much bigger than phones in the cars in the 60s. This is huge. This is 100 years ago. Plus. You understand, when we go that far back in time, we didn't have any evidence of things. We had books. That's all we have. We didn't have any videos, that's for sure.
I'm wondering when the AI was invented. I don't know. Siri's been around for quite a while. I know that. She's been around for at least, since what, gosh. Probably at least since 08, 09. Actually, it's probably 2011.
Yeah, that's quite different than 1886.
Yeah,
But anyways, I'm glad that we did this. At least people out there will be aware of it.
Same here.
It's a good video. Yeah, it's definitely a good video. I'm glad that you brought it out for everybody.
The technology in the 1800s really surprises me.
I know it's going to take a while for you to digest the information. But yeah, just to think about it. And but we should close it up and listen to the comments and see what people say about it.
Yeah, definitely. And Ty, you have a good night. Thank you for coming on and talking with me about it.
You too, and I appreciate you having me on. And I think it's just amazing. It's amazing. I think we're going to get a lot of responses on this. But we'll see. But I'll talk to you soon, just the same. Okay?
All right, Ty. Thanks, man. Have a good night.
All right, I'll talk to you. Yeah. You too. Bye.